Today's guide I am going to show you how to make this goddamn amazing powerful build that is based on alchemy and that is based also on dealing both frost and frost damage. This is an upgraded version of my already overpowered early game most amazing alchemy build, so on and so forth. What is up, you damn gorgeous, beautiful gamers? Welcome back to role-playing games. This is Mariel Corner in the internet, where we like to discuss about RPGs if you like the content. If you like to have these conversations with Mariel James, I very much like to invite you, like always, to hit the like button because it really helps me like you have no idea. So what I am going to be showing you guys with this video is both the stats, the weapons that you want to use, and how and when do you want to use them, as well as the combos that you have for those weapons, and basically pretty much everything that you need for the build. So for the statistics, you need to reach elemental alchemy at max level ASAP. That is going to be your focus. From the previous build we already had engineering at 5, so engineering at 5, it's going to give you again affliction multiplier, which is amazing because you want to place afflictions on the enemies. You don't actually want to have just focus on damage, but you want to focus on afflicting the afflictions that the weapons have. So basically, if you want to continue to level up this thing, what you want to do next is to get this thing to max level. So basically this build focuses on these little stats that we have right there. We do not need I mean, engineering is also going to be giving you armor already, so you do not need durability, you do not need bigger, trust me, like bigger. With the amount of elemental alchemy that we have, we can pretty much spam this thing, the cooldown mechanic, as much as we want. We have enough stamina, and then we can spam this thing as much as we want, because the resistance that we have, as you can see, the meter it's going down quite fast because we have so much resistance to frost. So basically you have infinite stamina if you manage well your properties. And we do have armor from engineering, so that is why we not need health. We need some kind of health, but with the amount of armor that we have, it can be covered with some other stuff, and that other stuff that it can be covered with, it's modules. So let's go through the modules that we want for this thing. Grade 3 long infusion module. This thing is going to, this is not mandatory. This is not something that you inherently necessarily need for this build. It's just a side thing that it's nice to have, I guess. Basically what this thing does is that when you infuse your weapon, it's only going to last for 40 seconds, which is going to give you time to kill maybe 2 enemies. This is going to give you time to kill maybe 3 enemies, to clear off a specific area before having to recast it. It's going to save you alchemical capsules, but that is really not that important either, because at the end of the day you only waste 2 elemental alchemical capsules. You cannot see right now because of the logo of the channel, but right now I have 150 elemental capsules, and I just got them by playing regularly. With the amount of engineering, and if you place more and more points of engineering, you are going to be getting more elemental capsules to be using with your build. The next modules that we are using, of course, longevity module, preferably a level 2 one. It's going to give us health, the health that we do not have, the health that we lack. You're not going to get hit with this build that much, and if you're going to get hit with this build, it's a very safe to play build. So we need that for the sweet spot to be able to use our doses for the oil. So basically, I have a La Boycia Sublimator. Anyways, this thing, it's going to heal us in 1 sip. So that's amazing. Like, if you get hit and you're dying, 1 sip is going to give you complete health. So what is the point of having any more health than that, if that you're already going to be recovering all of the health that we have right here? As you can see, 290. If I get to 20, 1 sip, it's going to get me back to full health. Then we have the Average module. I like to use this throughout the entire playthrough because it's going to allow you to level up faster. Leveling up faster is going to ensure that you max out Elemental Alchemy ASAP, which is an essential part of this build. And then finally we have the Frost Catalyst module. Right here you can be changing this one for Flame Catalyst build, depending on what kind of... There's going to be different resistant enemies scattered throughout all of the game. Some areas will have more frost resistant enemies, some areas will have more fire resistant enemies, but what it is true at the end of the day is that there is going to be some areas are going to be more randomized, and some other areas are going to be strongly focused on one specific element. So yeah, you can be swapping that out regularly if that is your thing. I am lazy like that, and I like to use my frost module, and that's it. That's how I like to roll. But that's just me, dude. So now let's talk about the weapons. As you can see, my weapons I have them both at level 4. The Glass Core Batoons, which has a beautiful Elemental Alchemy affinity of B. That's my main weapon. I use this thing basically when I encounter an enemy that is frost resistant, because it has low Elemental Alchemy affinity, but it has nice flame damage, as you can see right here. 84 flame damage. Dude, that's amazing. And this thing, it's going to melt the frost resistance enemies, but that's just a weapon that I carry to be able to deal with those enemies. One important thing about this weapon is that it has so much range. You do not want to be using this weapon close range because it really has a nice long range. And one other important thing about this weapon is that every time you land a hit on an enemy with this weapon, it's going to push them back. And it's going to push them back and ensure that you keep using that range to your advantage. So it is an amazing weapon that I would say this is a focus weapon for a power affinity build. But I guess that there are better power-based weapons, and since we already have the alchemy affinity, it's a low alchemy affinity, but it really melts down frost-resistant enemies, and that is what we use this thing for, to kill frost-resistant enemies. Everything else, everything that has no resistant, everything that has flame resistance, everything that has fulmination resistance, this is what we're going to be using. This is going to be our main boy. This is going to be our main weapon. I'm going to show you a combo little later on that is going to allow you to deal with the biggest enemies that this game has. But the amazing part about this thing is that it really does not use that much stamina, and you will be able, if you follow this build to the formula as I have it right now, you will be able to freeze enemies in like 3 or 4 hits. So the bad thing about this weapon is that it has low range, but let me show you right now a combo that I like to use that it always ensures that my enemies remain frozen with this thing. Now this one right here is one of the toughest enemies that you will find in this game, at least one of the basic enemies. We have another one down there, which is going to make my life so much harder. So we're going to be dealing with this little boy first, and then we're going to be focusing on the big one. I do want to show you a very specific combo that this build can make, so that is why I need to have... Alright, so there we go. That's perfect. Let's regain some health, and what you want to do with these guys is basically freeze them, which is not going to take you that long, and now he's basically dead. You will see right now why. Charge up a heavy attack, and once you charge up a heavy attack, oh god, it's going to take a single hit to freeze him once again. So basically what you want to do with this build is that. Charge up heavy, oh god, and there you go. Like, he's always basically going to be frozen The very first time that you freeze an enemy, it's going to take you quite a little bit longer, but once you manage to freeze an enemy, or if you actually find a way to charge up your heavy attack, it's only going to take you another hit to freeze basically every enemy that you can find in the game. Every enemy that is not resistant to frost, of course. So there is indeed that. So that is basically everything that you need to know about this build. You are going to be using elemental capsules, alchemical capsules, but it shouldn't be that bad. Now, if you want to take this thing further, I will be showing you. I believe that I will be uploading the final version of the build tomorrow. But what I am aiming with this build is to have this two maxed out. And then if you feel like you still want to level up, which I do not feel that it's necessary, you can place points into durability and vigor. Although I wouldn't place more than 10 into each one, because at the end of the day, you're going to end up like with a 50-ish kind of level with the endgame build for this build, the base build, which is just focusing on elemental alchemy and engineering to have as much affliction multipliers as you can get, and as much frost damage, flame damage as you can get. There's also some other weapons that you can toy around with if you do not want to use these things against the frost resistance enemies. There's also the Roma Spot Sand, which is an amazing weapon. I'll talk about this specific weapon on a very specific different video. But that being said, remember that if no one has told you today that you're a gorgeous, beautiful person, you are indeed a gorgeous, beautiful person. Have a beautiful day, and I'll be seeing you goddamn gorgeous, beautiful people in the next one. Goodbye.